If you're planning on buying any cards from TCG Player, make sure you use our affiliate link right here in the description of our video to help support the channel. It's the best way to do it and it's free. And if you need any code cards, make sure you check out Potown Store for automatic email delivery and use code TABLEMONTH for 5% off all your purchases. If you're from Europe, mealybotsgaming.com is a great option to get your cards from. They have all sorts of sealed products, merchandise, and all the sets available from Pokemon Sun and Moon upwards, including the latest Hidden Fate set. Don't forget to use TABLEMONTH code when checking out to get a further 5% off from your final purchase. Hello everyone and welcome. I have no idea why I have not added my face cam, so give me 1 second. Oopsies. Give me 1 second whilst I fix this. Alright, hello everyone and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Hi Berserk, Verluminonian, Hightower, Vault. Pre-releases do start tomorrow, which is really cool. Cosmic Eclipse is about to hit, and I figured it would be a good time to do a set review. I haven't done one of these in a very long time, so why not do it now? My Berserk, I think you played against Pedro Torres, not Pablo Torres. I'm Pablo, he's Pedro. Yeah, turn 3 cross division on 3 Pidgeotto. That's pretty good, right? That's definitely pretty good. That's the dream against that sort of deck. That's for sure. Alright, so let's have chat up and running, right? Let's have chat up and running over here. Probably should have planned this before. Alright, and then let's have finally our beautiful sponsors, of course. They are one of the best things that keep us running overall. So thank you so much, TCG Player, Potent Store, and Millibuds Gaming. So Cosmic Eclipse is about to be released over this weekend, and the next one we have pre-releases, and then afterwards we have the full official set release, and of course eventually the PTCGO set release, where we will be live streaming and putting out a ton of content with the new cards. So I figured why not take a look at some of the new cards and see if any of them, or which ones rather, are worth it. So big thanks to Pokebeach.com for the for having the Cosmic set list already and very nicely done with the spoilers for every card and everything. So to start off, we have a new tag team, Venusaur Snivy GX. One of the few tag teams that do have abilities, and I guess you need an ability as good as this one in order to make it viable. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, whenever you attach a grass energy from your hand to this Pokemon during your turn, you may choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and switch it with their active. So on paper this looks like a really good ability, but in reality I don't think it's going to be that great, purely because it's grass type in a Water format. That's never good. Its damage output is very low. 160 damage is nothing spectacular anymore. And even though you can choose who you attack, essentially, you will get to a point where there's no more need to attach more energies, and there's no way to accelerate energies for a grass Pokemon other than the I don't know, the stage 2 Sarina maybe, something like that. But you're not attaching from hand, so you don't get the ability, so it's a bit redundant, and you know, the ability is really nice. I don't think it's going to see any play whatsoever. And then you want a league challenge 3-on-1 with Whimsicott? See, that's pretty good. Well, that's pretty good. Congrats on the win. Alright, so The GX attack, Solar Blast GX, this attack does 50 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon, and you have at least 2 additional energy, so 5 total. Doesn't have to be grass at all. You heal all damage from each of your Pokemon, so the bench damage isn't anything spectacular. If it were 60 damage, maybe. If it were 70 damage, then I'd say it's decent. 50 damage is pretty underwhelming, and then healing your Pokemon, the format is too much based on 1 KOs that I think this one's gonna go into the binder, that's for sure. So next up we have Vileplume GX. The Oddish and the Gloom, nothing special about them. The Vileplume GX, the ability Fragrant Flower Garden. You may heal 30 damage for each of your Pokemon once during your turn, so setting up a stage 2 to heal as much as a potion on each of your Pokemon seems meh. I mean, of course there's a Alolan Executor, right, to get this guy out, and it further helps Alolan Executor decks with the Pokemon, I think it's Arena. I don't know which one is the one that protects, reduces by 40, and the other one gets energy back, but obviously the Vileplume would be a very nice inclusion into tanky sort of Alolan X decks in order to further heal any damage. You heal 30 from your attack, you prevent 40 damage, and then you can even have a choice helmet for 30 more, and then whatever damage they do manage to deal, you actually get to heal 30. So if Welder was not a card, then that deck would probably be fantastic, but unfortunately Welder is a card. So if you know that your metagame is going to be filled with like Picaroms and Malamars and Guardians, then that's the deck to play. But without those showing up, probably not great. Not a great choice because Welder is a thing, as I mentioned. Now, next up we have the attacks. 180 damage for 2 energy. It's actually pretty nice and has synergy with the ability because you do 10 less damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. However, you actually are able to, maybe I should zoom in on this to make it look nicer for you guys. Yeah, that seems a lot better, but now I have to move chat. Maybe you won't have chat. It's not very active anyways. Yeah, let's not have chat today. Okay, so we have the damage. 180 for 2 energy is pretty decent. It has synergy with the ability because you heal, therefore you increase your damage output in case you've been hit. But like I said, I think the ability is the main selling point, and it's a very easy addition to Alolan Executor decks. Now we do have the GX attack, 50 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned, burned, and paralyzed. So pretty decent attack. You lead with that into the Big Bloom. Very nice damage output. If you become a tank, then it's potentially useful, but I think it's best combined with Alolan Executor as the main attacker. Next up we have Tangela. Toxic, putting 2 damage counters, reminiscent of Nidoqueen, which is awesome. Then we have Tangrowth as well with the attack, 30 more damage for each scene, the retreat cost of your opponent's active Pokemon for a single colorless, oh, it's not colorless, it's actually grass. Yeah, it's grass, it's not colorless. Silly Pokebeach. If it were colorless, I was gonna say, okay, this might be a decent tech as a grass type attacker in like toolboxy kind of decks, but it might be a decent inclusion in things like Froslass Spiritomb, which is already running the rainbow energies, but probably not gonna be ideal. I can't come up with like a, well, maybe the new Piplup and Blastoise tag team might be a good target for this, but probably not great. And then flipping 2 coins, 80 damage for each heads, nothing spectacular either. Next up we have Sunflora. During your next turn, ignore all energy attack cost in each of your grass and fire Pokemon. That's really cool. So you get to Flare Strike for 0 damage, you get to use the attacks previously mentioned from the grass types for 0 energy, but you have to use an attack and then you can use that attack for 0, and then afterwards what do? You still need energy to power up, so probably not great. Heracross, 120 damage if they have a tag team. Once again, 120 damage doesn't cut it. 240 damage isn't even spectacular at all. Then they create daily. If your opponent's Pokemon is affected with a special condition, can't retreat. Meh. And then 110 damage and poison. So these are like really well balanced cards because they're not super powerful and their attack cost versus the HP and the damage are okay, which makes the unbalanced cards stand out, right? Next we have Tropius. You can search your deck for a grass energy and attach to one of your Pokemon. So decent attack, but I mean, what do you even play this in? What needs energy acceleration? Victini is much better because it accelerates 2 basics energy of any type. Kriegatoon, 30 plus damage. You have exactly 1 card in your hand. This attack does 100 more damage, so similar to Gramble. That's pretty cool. And if you have exactly 3 cards in your hand, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. And you have 6 cards in your hand. This attack does 30 damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon. So I like this attack. It's actually pretty innovating and pretty interesting. Of course, the effect of less cards in hand is the most powerful one. If we still had Oranguru, then this might have been a real deck, but realistically in standard it's just not gonna be impactful, and in expanded 130 damage is nothing from a stage 1. Not impactful enough. Okay, so now we move on to Sawsbuck. Yeah, Sawsbuck is actually a potentially very useful card because you get to draw a card for having a Sawsbuck, so it accelerates itself, and in its own deck you do 60 damage and you bounce, so you switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. So that can be pretty cool, pretty good. Broadmesser Ninja, the link is on Pokebeach. Yeah, if you Google Pokebeach Cosmic Eclipse set list, then you can find the set list. So pretty cool. Pretty cool card. Dealing 60 damage and bouncing to the bench means it's similar-ish to the Behem decks, but this time around you have self-included acceleration, so you don't have to rely on Pidgeotto so much, and the 2 energy cost is mitigated a little bit by the fact that you don't have to put Sawsbuck back into a deck like Behem, but you can put up the same molds in Gumi and Alola Ninetales to try and beat your opponent that way. So pretty cool, pretty cool. This might see play as a sort of budget deck. I think it definitely has potential, and the Deerling is super, super cute. Now, next up we have new Rowlets. Neither does anything special. I mean, I guess you prevent damage with hide and seek, which is nice. The art on this is so nice though, this clay Rowlet. This is also pretty, wow, this is actually amazing. I love this. Then the Dartrix, nothing special, you have to switch. And then the non-GX Decidueye, the first ever we've had, I think, now I think about it, I think I'm wrong. 40 damage, snipe to one of your opponent's Pokemon, setting up a stage 2 to deal 4 damage, not worth it. And then Tracking Shoot though, 80 damage and 80 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. That's a more powerful attack, but the card is still not broken enough to compete. Now, Baby Grass type Puzzle. This Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon for each prize card you have taken. So the longer the game goes on, the more damage you do. 60 damage and heal 30. The heal 30 is pretty relevant when you're at 130. That's like having 10 HP, it seems, right now. But the extra damage might be decent. I think this card would shine more in Expanded. You could play Counter Game, right? So you max out, if they have 5 prize cards, that's 160 damage. With a Beast Energy, that's 190. Meh, still not enough to close out a game against the Tag Team deck. Now we move on to the Fire types, right? Hola Henry, how are you doing? We're taking a look at Cosmic Eclipse today. So, pretty cool art. I already posted a deck featuring this card from showcasing this card in a green sort of deck. You do 108 damage, and then you may search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand. That's a really nice effect, right? It is a costly. If it costed 3 fires, then it would be completely broken. 4 makes it more balanced. But the three cards you get to search, it's like it's getting ready for next turn, right? And then combine that with greens or Welder, like you set up your Welder. Playing Lieutenant Surgery strategy now makes more sense. So I think this deck as a support Pokemon in Regisaur decks is actually going to make a lot of sense. A lot of sense. I feel like unless you're getting reset stamped every other turn, you could get to the point where you set yourself up to this guy goes down and then you go into a Surge into double Welder to power up another Regisaur and continue pummeling your opponent. I think that's going to be the main reason to play this card. The GX attack is honestly pretty underwhelming. You get to attach 5 energy cards, and then if you have 2, then the active Pokemon is Burned and Confused, but that's not really special. I mean, if you got to accelerate 5 energy cards on turn 1, that would be fantastic, but the fact that it costs your GX attack makes it not great. Now, next up we have Ponyta. Hola, Spinda King. Thank you so much for being here. Next up we have Ponyta. Search your deck for 2 basic energies. Not great. Rapidash, 30 damage and 30 to one of your opponent's bench. Not great. The Flareon, there has been talk of the evolutions. The attack of your Pokemon GX that evolve from EV deals 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, though you can't have more than one ability at a time. 30 extra damage in exchange for a stage 1. Meh, the evolution GXs are already pretty underwhelming anyway, so I don't think it's worth it. Macargo, you discard 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. Nothing spectacular, 80 damage, you discard. Entei, if any of your opponent were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 90 more damage, so for 120 total. Once again, that damage output is not fantastic, neither is 100, so nothing to see here. Putting energy back into your discard pile, not great. 100 for 3 fires, not great. Even if you discard an energy from bronze active Pokemon, you're also discarding from yourself, not worth the Welder. Victory Heal is actually pretty decent, healing 20 damage from your benched Pokemon by just having the Victini. So if you have something that has free retreat and is tanky, you can tank a hit, retreat into another copy of that. And then the Victini is not type dependent like Shaman is, so Victini should be the new norm-ish. There might be some sort of tanky deck that decides to focus on this, and maybe Keldeo based decks, but unfortunately it does compete for space with the other Victini that accelerates energy. Now Tepic, Picknight, nothing spectacular. Embor though, pretty cool looking card, honestly, pretty cool looking card. And when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may look at the top 8 cards of your deck and attach any basic energy you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like. So decent ability, but since there's no guaranteed attachments, right? You could attach 6 energy or you could attach 0. I don't think it's worth it. Like, even though it's any basic energy, I can only think of possibly like the new Clefairy, Igglybuff, Togepi fairy type deck that might want to use Embor. Like, that might be a meme deck, just using Embors to get energy into play and pull off the GX attack, but probably not great. Probably not gonna be great. Volcarona GX, pretty powerful card. This one is definitely going to make an impact. The Scorching Bomb ability, you get to discard a fire and you put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, which is really, really nice. Hello, Native Ryan, Little Mitty, thank you so much for being here. Turbo Darkness, Joe Bro, and yeah, the power creep is real. The power creep is definitely real. It is a big deal. Alright, so like I said, we have the Volcarona GX. Putting that 2 extra damage counters wherever you want, it's not quite as broken as the CDI because it does have a cost, right, of discarding a fire energy from your hand, but with fire crystals being a thing and decks playing up to 18 basic energies, discarding fires shouldn't be a big deal, and getting multiple Volcaronas out in one go should be the norm of that deck. I know this is being combined with Silvally to try and further set up. Definitely a decent idea, so this might actually be a potentially threatening deck, or we might see Volcarona GX being included into other decks, being included into other weird-ish decks. As a way to power up damage, right? As a way to power up damage. The attack is nothing big to write home about, 160, and returning the fires, that's really not great. Either returning fires to hand or discarding them is not great. At least by returning them you can Scorching Bomb them afterwards, but you don't have infinite welders, so relying on this attack the whole time is not gonna be a good idea. So, and also 160 damage is nothing spectacular, so as a support for other more broken fire type Pokemon seems like a good way to go about this. And then the GX discard energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. This might be situationally useful to slow down your opponent at some point where they're not expecting it, but it's not the biggest of deals when all the decks basically rely on accelerating energy. You have Welder decks, you have Pikarom with Thunder Mountain and Cocoa Prism. So yeah, the GX attack, early on it might be impactful, but it's not going to be game changing, right? Not going to be game changing. The new Excadrill you think has potential, we'll get to it, and Dusknoir as well. Do you think there are any decent Sceptile GX decks? No, I don't think so. Sparty Pants being at stage 2 is just really sad right now. Okay, and Lil Mitty, I've already uploaded a video in case you want to take a look at it with Reshiram and Zekrom featuring Nagnadel, so definitely take a look at that over on my YouTube channel if you haven't yet. So next up we have Pyroar. Litleo, nothing special. Pyroar, 70 damage, and you discard all Pokemon tool cards and special energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. Oh, that attack is actually potentially interesting, but I think more so in Expanded. In Standard, there's not that much reliance on either. Maybe tools, but like you'd want this effect in a deck like Pikarom, where the Fairy Charm Lightning exists, but you can't put this into Pikarom, so meh. And there's not a lot of tools that really threaten fire type decks. You're just better off playing Lysander Labs, honestly. Alright, so moving on to the water type people. I really love the art of this card. It looks so badass. Sorry about the word, so so menacing. Alright, so we have Splash Maker dealing 150 damage. Nothing spectacular in terms of damage output, though it is cost effective for the 3 energy cost. And you may attach up to 3 water energy from your hand to your Pokemon in any way you like. Then heal 50 damage for each of those Pokemon for each energy you attach to them. So you do accelerate energy between yourself if you retreat and then get the energies back, which there's not a great way to recover water energies just yet. It is going to be a little complicated, right? It is going to be a little complicated. I could see pulling this off on turn 2 with like Amy's Magius, Lieutenant Surge, Reset Stamp, Mars Engine perhaps working, because then you can counter gain and get this attack off on turn 2, but meh, 150 damage once again is nothing too big or too spectacular. Now we do have the Bubble Launcher GX dealing 100 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed, and if you have 3 additional water energy, then this attack does 150 more damage. Obviously the damage output is nice. 250 is still not quite enough to knock out things like Mew Mew. You do get the paralysis, but it feels redundant to add damage output, therefore probably knocking out your opponent whilst paralyzing them. It feels like a waste to have added damage potential with the paralysis. Now next up we have Alolan Vulpix, Bench Barrier, snowed in, essentially pretty decent. This probably makes it the best Alolan Vulpix so far right now. Is there any way to recover item cards in Standard other than Oranguru? I don't think so. Hello Nicholas, thanks so much for being here. I actually do not think so. Well, there's Munchlax. There's Munchlax, which can recover anything, right? Over a flip, you can recover anything. I think that's pretty much it. Nothing else comes to mind. Psyduck confuses both for 2 energy, that's so bad. Golduck, 80 damage, and you return 1 energy from this Pokemon, really bad. Vaporeon gives an extra 60 HP to Pokemon GX that evolve from Eevee. That's actually pretty decent, right? That's pretty decent. Makes Flareon GX a little sturdier. Same for Jolteon, same for Vaporeon GX. So there might be some combination of Vaporeon plus Vaporeon GX where the HP gets high enough with the healing to make it viable, but you can only use one vital air ability at a time. And then the attack 60 damage, heal 30 from each of your Pokemon in play. Not terrible, but like the format right now is all about one hit KOing, so it's not like you're gonna have 4 Pokemon damaged and then you heal 30, which is also not very impactful. Sneasel, nothing special. Weavile, 110 damage for 3 energies, not great. The dark type cost means it's splashable, but 110 isn't even enough to 1KO Reshizzard, so it's not a great tech, and the attack cost is very prohibitive. Nasty Plot, you can search for your deck for 2 cards, but dedicating a stage 1 to be able to do that, probably not good. Too slow, right? Too slow, too balanced. Wailord, just a big card with big fat attacks. Nothing special here. Glalie, you may, well, if you flip heads, they're paralyzed and you discard an energy. Okay, so that's a pretty harsh effect for a single flip. Not bad. The damage output is terrible though. And 120 damage, and they try to balance this by not letting you attack next turn. 120 damage is absolutely worthless. Double Spheal, really nice looking Spheals. And then we have Walrein. Your opponent can't play any trainers during their hand, but you can't use this attack if any of your Pokemon use Cold Wave during your last turn. So even if you switch back the Walrein and promote it, you can't use back-to-back-to-back Walrein attacks, I believe, unless you played Ranger, so an expanded, but meh. Kabutops basically does this with an ability, so does Stoutland. They don't stop item cards, but it's a permanent supporter log, so much better. And then 120 damage, and then 10 damage to the bench. 10 damage is nothing. Kyogre, you attach the 1 energy cards from a discard pile to one of your Pokemon. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Another way to accelerate energy that's less, that's focused on water type decks, so this might be better than Victini and Keldeo. Probably not. Searching the deck is always better. Not attaching from discard early on. Later on it's better from discard, but you're not trying to use this after you have manually powered up a Keldeo. Empoleon, you can use an attack from previous evolutions, the Piplup dealing 80 damage, and the defending Pokemon, if it's a basic, it can't attack, but it can retreat and then use a different one and bypass the effect. So nothing spectacular here. Wow, and then 130 damage and you discard all energy attached to this Pokemon. That's really bad. Fion allows you to, if this Pokemon's on your bench, your opponent switches their active Pokemon, so that's a way to kind of bypass Tag Purge in some decks that might have trouble with it, such as Pigrom. And if you do, then you discard everything and put this Pokemon at the bottom of your deck. So you can also use this guy to make it impossible for you to deck yourself out, kind of like Suicune GX. So pretty decent. Pretty decent. Be giving art reviews as well, indeed. Just commenting on the cute cards, really. Just commenting on the cute cards. Timple, nothing special. Ducklet and Swanna, nothing special. Black Huron, pretty cool art, but 200 for 4. Difficult to power up, not great. 30 damage, discard a special energy. Who uses special energies in standard right now, so not great. Drampa GX did it better. Wishy-Washy, non-GX Wishy-Washy, basic 180 HP Pokemon, and then if this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, flip a coin at the end of your opponent's turn. If tails, shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck. So you can use it to tank hits, but you don't want to power it up and then have it get a damage placed and go back into a deck and waste all of your energy attachments. Same for this Wishy-Washy GX, 20 damage for each of your Wishy-Washy and Wishy-Washy GX in play, so 120 damage for 2 energies on an 130 HP GX Pokemon. Really, really terrible. And then Big Catch GX, you look at the top 12 cards, put basic Pokemon onto your bench. If it were any Pokemon, then this would have merit, because you could put stage 2s directly into play. why would you ever use Big Catch when you can just use Cherish Ball? It's really bad. It's a really bad attack, honestly. Araquanid, 40 damage and 80 damage, and then you deal 60 more, but very costly attack. And then we have Pikachu and Raichu. They both have the nozzle, so you can use that Pachirisu, I think. That power puts an energy on all the nozzle Pokemon, and then Powerful Spark does 20 damage times the amount of lightning energy attached to your Pokemon. So for Raichu, GX is now a really bad version of this Raichu in particular. Pikachu also has nozzle, so there might be some decent non-GX deck that just piles on energy, but meh, you need so many. You need 15 energy in play, well, 14 energy in play attached to different Pokemon in order to knock out attack teams, so that seems really bad. Magneton. Okay, so with the ability Beacon, that's not bad. You choose up to 3 supporter cards from your deck, reveal them, and put them into your hand. So this goes really nicely with the lady supporters, that if you play all of them, or if you've played one of them or something like that, you look at the top 12 cards and attach energies. So interesting concept, that's for sure. Interesting concept. You do give up a price, but it's not that big a deal. Might be good. Combining this with the supporters and the Clefairy Igglybuff Togepi card, maybe. Next up we have Jolteon, where you have Speediel, your the Pokemon GX that evolve from Eevee pay colorless less, so not bad, making attacks more cost effective, but not completely making Flareon, Jolteon, or Glaceon or Leafeon at all useful, really, or even Vaporeon. Lantern, Flickering Light, as often as you like. You may look at the top card of your opponent's deck and then return it to the top of their deck. It's really funny how it says as often as you like during your turn. So it's like, well, I guess if you reset stamp them, then you can look at it again. But can you imagine? Okay, Flickering Light, look at it. Flickering Light, like continuously doing it. Obviously, you'll be penalized if you do that, but why not, right? Why not? Remember Dragon Majesty Wishy-Washi's PokeGX? I have no idea what Dragon Majesty Wishy-Washi's do. And Cortex, playing PTGO is honestly so much better now that you have Impulse Control to avoid opening more expensive packs. There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's much better to trade for the cards and just play with them rather than open packs and play that lottery. Packs are technically loot boxes, right? Or kind of. Togedemaru searches for Pokemon and places them on the bench and then does 20 damage to one Pokemon, not great. This one does 30, which is even worse, for 2 energies and then paralyzes. This is a humongous set. This is the biggest set in history, but I think the last 3 or 4 sets have been the biggest sets in history, so I feel like it's getting redundant saying that. Sword and Shield hopefully is much smaller. So we have Lily on top of Solgaleo. I've actually been watching the anime, the Pokemon anime, with my girlfriend, and it's been pretty okay. It's been pretty okay. It does have some duh moments, but it's been pretty entertaining, honestly. So 230 damage for 4 energies, and you can't Cosmic Burn during your next turn. This is essentially a Psychic type Flare Strike. 230 damage is a decent number. I think it's much better as a Psychic Pokemon because of Spell Tag. So if you lead with Spell Tag Giratinas and Distortion Doors, then the Cosmic Burn actually makes a lot of sense. And then you have Light of the Goddess, where you deal 200 damage straight up. So once again, this is like Psychic type Reshizzard. But if you play Lily's Best Effort from your hand during this turn, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to each of your Pokemon. So that's crazy. You get protection to all of your Pokemon. You essentially buy yourself a turn, which is really, really good. I could see some late game scenarios where this actually ends up as a potentially useful card. How many Lily's Best Effort do you play? That's a good question. Probably 2. But yeah, it seems viable. In Malware decks, it seems viable. The protection effect seems pretty decent. Coughing, once during your turn before you attack, this Pokemon is discarded by the effect Roxy. You may put 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon. Wow. This is really nice combined with Roxy. And then Wheezing, it's the same. It's the same effect. So you can play 8 of these and then rock like 4 and 4, and then Roxy becomes a draw 6, do 20 damage to your opponent's bench. There might be an engine that exploits this, perhaps. Like maybe Malamar. Probably not, but there might be. The attack, you do 90 damage and then you discard Pokemon and all cards attached to it. Not bad, right? Not bad. Not bad, yeah. Even if you start with a Coughing, you can still do 90 damage for 2 energy, not bad. Yeah, I like the idea behind the Roxy engine with this in spread decks, perhaps. Maybe an expanded with Coco on TC. Next up we have Shatu. Well, the Natu's Future Sight attack, where you look at the top of cards from your deck and return them to the top in any order. That might actually be decent in some control deck. I mean, it's when Confuses and Life Drain. Ooh, for a flip, you drain everything from your opponent's Pokemon and leave them with 10 HP. So with Victini, Victory Star Victini, I don't even know if that's legal in standard or not, but Victory Star Victini with this, you have a 75% chance to leave them at 10 HP, and then if you played in expanded, right? If you played Hypnotoxic Laser or Shrine of Punishment, then that's an immediate KO. Of course, Raticate does the same thing for a triple energy, but it's another option, right? This guy does it for 1 Psychic and expanded with a Dimension Valve in play, right? So pretty okay. And the Alaskan Hero, thanks so much. I missed the alert. I missed the alert on the subscription. Thank you so much on 19 months. That's a lot of months. That is a lot of months. Thank you so much. And I've also missed a few follows, so sorry about that. Vald, the Penguin, and Zoran Company, thanks so much for the follow. Why is it your subscription not showing up, the Alaskan Hero? I don't know why it's not showing up in my mini feed. Let me see if I can. No, it's not showing up. Huh, I'm sorry, but thank you so much, the Alaskan Hero. I really do appreciate it. Alright. And yeah, Magneton can also search for Volkner, and I mean for Surge and 2 Volkner, or Surge and anything else really. So there might be ways to exploit the Magneton. There might be ways to exploit the Magneton. Alright, so we have Gallade. As long as this Pokemon is in play, its type is both Psychic and Fighting. Pretty nice. Those are the 2 best offensive types. And 120 damage, and you move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. For a stage 2, this is just not great, but maybe in expanded, it could be good in Guardian decks, though the other Gallade sounds better still. Next up we have Dusknoir, where Duskull, you can discard 3 cards and then immediately evolve, and then by playing the Dust Stone you can evolve into Dusknoir, I think, right? I think, maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, you can get Dusknoir pretty quickly, especially because you can search and evolve for this guy immediately. And if this guy is knocked out, you put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. Therefore, this with a spell tag, that's 8 damage counters anywhere and 1 energy, 60 damage. Nothing special, but you are going to be more of a spread deck in that regard. Kula Diamond, I will be playing PTCGO after the set review. I will be playing PTCGO, probably some expanded decks after the set review. Yeah. Alright, so moving on, Rotom, discard a card, draw 2, not great. Attach 2 basic energies from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon any way you like. Once again, not great. Zubat, your opponent chooses one of their own Pokemon, and then this attack does 90 damage to that Pokemon. That's pretty silly. Golurk, if you have a support card in your discard pile, this attack does nothing. Wow. Way to make a card just really bad. Why would you not play supporters? Why would you play a deck based on this guy in order to not play supporters? That's terrible. Terrible. Alright, so Dragalge, 10 damage counters for poison and then 40 damage. Not fantastic. It's essentially 1 for 100 damage, but not great. Next up we have Trevenant, 20 damage, and you may have your opponent switch their active with one of their bench. 20 damage is nothing, and 120 damage, and you put 4 damage counters on one of your Pokemon. So this is a worse, like, this is Shadow Impact from Giratina, except it's worse. It's 10 less damage to them and 10 more damage to you. That doesn't make sense. How is that a way to balance this? Like, this Shadow Impact, because it's from a stage 1, it should be even stronger, right? It should cost this, but it should be even stronger instead of making it weaker. Like, why? Why would I ever play this instead of the basic Pokemon? Anyways, Orikoru GX, now this card is going to see play for sure. The Dedicated Dance ability, if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn, no matter how it was knocked out, you may draw 3 cards. So having that Orikoru GX on your bench, especially late game, is going to be very nice reset stamp protection, and that's going to be huge. That is definitely going to be huge, and will take away randomness from the game. So I'm a really big fan of the Orikoru GX. The attack's nothing special, and since this guy will go into everything, you'll very rarely, if ever, attack with it, but I do really like the idea of the Orikoru GX as a one-of inclusion to protect from reset stamp that is also searchable by Cherishable. Now next up we have the double Mimikyus. This one, you can discard a support from your hand and then use the effect of that supporter, so you essentially get double supporter in one turn. If you want to, but the other attack, 2 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon each. It might be decent in Malamar because it's good early game with this, if you go second especially, and it's also good as a spreading tactic, so especially with the new Blacephalon. So maybe this Mimikyu actually has potential. And this one, everyone has been talking about the ability Shadow Box. If this Pokemon's in play, any GX that has damage counters on it has no ability. So this might be a way to shut off Mew Mew and whatnot. I definitely think that like Mew Mew decks will have to adapt, but I don't see too many decks being able to play this and have realistic ways to play damage, to place damage counters on stuff easily enough. Shrine obviously does it, but then you have to play a non-GX deck. Distortion Door from Giratina does it to the bench, not to the active, so it has potential, but I feel like people are overreacting and saying that this just makes Mew Mew decks completely unviable, because there are ways around it, right? And it's all about adapting, right? It's all about adapting. Delmice, you recover a supporter and then you deal 100 damage. Then you Lunala. If you have Solgaleo in play, you may search your deck for up to 2 energy cards and attach them to your Solgaleo and Lunala in any way you like. So, you're still not gonna make a stage 2 deck based on those guys, even if they share the same basics. The attacks of Solgaleos are not spectacular enough to justify them. Ability Mimikyu will be good in Giratina Malamar, but other than that, it's not going to be good anywhere, right? Now, Marshadow, this is the least playable Marshadow. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks, excluding a GX attack, and use it as this attack. So perhaps, like not even in Malamar, because Mimikyu just does it better with more HP, no weakness, no resistance either, but that's irrelevant, with so little HP and a better attack cost. So maybe once Mimikyu rotates, or if Mimikyu had rotated it, then maybe Marshadow would have had some space in the deck. Next up we have Blacephalon. And wow, Pixel Hungry, thank you so much for the 1,000 M&Ms. Thank you so much for the 1,000 M&Ms. And thanks so much for my scuba diving, not scuba diving, my snorkeling equipment. I am definitely very very pressed for air, clearly, so this will be very helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you freed up apparently some emotes for chat, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Big heart to you. Yeah, big heart to you. You think the Mimikyu is only good in Mali? Yeah, definitely. Definitely only good in Mali, but it is good enough to warrant. Psychic Bounce will be really nice, right? Definitely psychic based. Plus Evelyn will be good. Malmar is already kind of a spread deck. This plus Evelyn just takes it a step further, where you place 4 damage counters. But if your opponent has 3 prize cards remaining, then you put 12 instead, which is a really big amount for 2 energies. And placing them anywhere is just fantastic, fantastic. Now, next up we have the fighting Pokemon. These guys, nothing special. The Flygon GX, I've seen play in Japan, but they also have Zoroark GX still available, so meh. Probably not gonna be great because it's a stage 2 in our format. If this Pokemon is your active, then any damage from your opponent is reduced by 30, 120 damage, and then up to 240, but triple fighting is very difficult to pull off. I'd say it's gonna take 3 turns. There's no way to accelerate energy really. So that's way too slow. And then Sonic Edge, 220 damage once again. If it were 280, then maybe this guy would be good, because then you bypass everything and you knock out all the tag teams available right now. But 220, it's just very underwhelming. Yeah, 240 with Diancie Prism, still not good enough. Next up we have Armaldo, dealing 220 for 2 colorless. See, so this is same stage 2, even easier to get out thanks to the stadium, but you can do 220 for 2 colorless. That's more viable, I'd say. Groudon, you get to attach basic fighting energies from your hand to one of your Pokemon. That's decent-ish. Maybe that's how you accelerate energy. Groudon, Flygon GX, sorry. Excadrill, people have mentioned Excadrill. I don't know if there's a metal one. 30 plus damage, you have 3 of your cards in your deck. 150 more damage, not great. And then 120 damage, discard 4 cards from the top of your deck. That seems very oppressive for very little damage, even if it's cost effective. I think there's better ways to deal 120 damage with non-GXs without discarding cards from your deck. Next up we have the Palpitoad and the Seismitoad. The basic was water type, but these people are now ground type, meaning Earthquake, 60 damage and you hit your own bench. Smooth Over, so you have the same ability as Macargo. Now that art is horrible, I think. And then this attack does 30 more damage for each of your bench Pokemon with any damage counters on them. So has synergy with them in the Earthquake. The attack cost is just insanely bad, right? Insanely bad. And sure, the ability allows you to put the triple back to back, but at 160 HP, you're not surviving much anyways. So not worth the effort to set this guy up. Then we have Throw, 30 plus 19 more damage if any of your bench Pokemon have damage counters on them. Okay, so consistent, 120 from basic, not bad. Pangoro, this feels like it's a really basic card. Nothing special about it. Crabominable, you take 30 less damage from attacks and you deal 80 plus 80 more if you have any water type energy attached. So 160 for 3 very specific energies, not great. Rockruff, Lycanroc, Boiling Blood. If your opponent has any Pokemon GX in play, the energy cost of this Pokemon's attacks is reduced by 3 colorless. Okay, so this is actually pretty nice. Not that much special energy being played, so you'll be hitting for 60 damage most of the time, so nothing impactful. Even at 130, it's nothing to write home about. It is nice that you get to attack for free, but meh, special energies are not prominent enough to justify this, playing this card. Pixel Hungry stream is lagging. Oh really? Oh, not again. The stream is lagging. How bad is the lag? Is it lagging for anyone else? Do you think Greninja Break has a chance in the next tournament? Not really. I mean, I think the HPs are just getting too high and decks are getting way too aggressive, right? Before Greninja GX wasn't like super easy to take down, but I think it is now way too easy to take down. Yeah, way too easy to take down. So is anyone else having lag issues? Is anyone else having lag issues? Please, please, please let me know. Maybe try lowering the resolution if you can, in my video preview, like my stream health says excellent, and my video preview seems to be working fine, so I don't know what the issue would be. I don't know what the issue would be. I'm sorry guys. Other than refreshing or lowering the quality, I don't know what else to... I don't know what else to say. Alright, so moving on. Wow, you guys just saw all of that, right? You saw me scroll through everything and you saw the dashboard. Anyways, it's fine. Alright, so we have Passimian, nothing special. We have Pulse and I mean the surprise 10 damage, meh, not ideal. 80 damage and the attacks reduced by 20, nothing spectacular. This guy is really funny in the cartoon. It gets really angry. 150 damage and 20 damage to each of your Pokemon for 4 energies. It's just the attacks are just really bad, really bad. Next up we have Alolan Persian GX. Pretty cool art. You prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to his Pokemon by your opponent's tag team Pokemon, Ultra Beast, and Pokemon with special energy attached to them. So this ability makes more sense to me, right? You don't prevent damage from GXs, regular GXs, but preventing from tag team and Ultra Beast is already pretty good. Therefore, you prevent damage from basically all the main decks right now, right? Mew Mew, Pigrom, Reshizzard. I mean, you don't prevent damage from Heatran, which is a bad thing. You don't prevent damage from Zeraora. Mew Mew doesn't have an answer to this. It's not like you can play Power Plant on Mew Mew to shut this guy off. So this might see play. The attacks are difficult-ish to power up. You can Welder, so you could pair this with Welder as a kind of restrictive deck. This attack does 120 damage to everyone's Pokemon, so anywhere 120 damage total, nothing impactful, but with such an ability your attack shouldn't be that fantastic either. Alolan Mug, you confuse, burn, and poison. Decent for 2, but meh. For a stage 1 it's just not great. Dark is not a great offensive type. Really cool art though. That's really nice. That's really cool looking. Carvanha, no. Sharpedo, what? Where's the Sharpedo? Absol, you discard a special energy and you discard 1 card from your hand. Meh, really bad. Bisharp, your opponent's active Pokemon can retreat and you can't use your attack next turn. Okay, so this Guzzlord is, or should be, pretty decent and should see play because you discard the top card of your opponent's deck, so it's decent. But if Weavile GX becomes a thing with red and blue, then powering this guy up and being able to take an extra prize card if you knock your opponent's Pokemon out with Red Viking actually seems pretty decent. And fun fact, this guy is really like a formidable opponent in the cartoon for whatever reason. So continuing with our set review, this is a very big set. Alolan Sandslash, nothing special about it. I mean, attacking for free and potentially preventing damage is nice, but not that great. Once again, Victini seems a good inclusion there. Next up we have Steelix. You can discard any number of Pokemon from your hand that have a retreat cost of 4, and this attack does 50 damage for each card discarded in this way. Okay, so this I like, right? This I like, because I'm sure there are plenty of Pokemon with 4. This with 4 retreat costs that are not like Aggron and things like that are not basics that you would start with. And then you can play Weller to cover the attack cost, and then you might be able to just get 1 KOs back to back to back. So wow, this card actually seems pretty decent overall, right? This card actually seems pretty decent overall. Pretty decent overall. I could see decks being built around the Steelix. I'll definitely give it a try once the set comes out. Mobile, you can search your deck for 2 tag team cards. So why would you ever use this attack instead of going for Pablo just froze? Wait, is everything okay? Or Like, why would you ever use this attack when you have Tack Whistle, where you just do the same thing, but you don't have to use your attack and you don't have to lose a price. This card is terrible. It's good in pre-releases, I guess, but this card is overall terrible. How many Pokemon showing his Steelix off with a Alolan Executor and Ether Paradise supporter? Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. Still dropping frames. What the heck? Internet in Mexico is terrible, apparently. Okay, so then we have Probo Pass. Play by coin if heads, the opponent's active Pokemon's now paralyzed, nothing impactful. Here we have this Solgaleo. If you have Lunala in play, all your Solgaleo and Lunala take 50 less damage, so that's decent. And then 180 damage, you discard 2 energy though. So, I mean, sure, you can build your cute Lunala Solgaleo deck, but it's just not great at all, I don't think. Just a slight lag, much better. Okay, I'm glad. So we're up to the fairy Pokemon, and we have Togepi, Cleffa, and Igglybuff GX. Rolling Panic, 120 plus damage, and you flip a coin until you get tails. His attack does 30 more damage for each head. Pretty interesting attack. But you have Supreme Puff GX, where you take another turn after this one, skip the between turn step, and if this Pokemon has at least 14 extra fairy energies for a total of 16 energy attached to it, your opponent shuffles all of their bench Pokemon and all cards attached to them into your deck. So pretty interesting way to potentially win a game, right? But then if they have a big hand, then they can just rebench. So meh. Doesn't seem like a really, like, pulling off the extremely hard Supreme Puff GX doesn't seem rewarding enough to justify it. Clefairy, pretty bad. Alolan Ninetales, this attack does 10 damage for each Pokemon tool card in your discard pile. I don't think you can have 30 tool cards in your discard pile realistically, but tool game attack teams might be decent-ish. Not great. Not great. I mean, with Shrine, with maybe you run the Wheezing engine with Roxy with this, and then you can get, I don't know. Nah, it doesn't seem worth it. Azurill, you may flip a coin if heads. Thank you so much for the follow. Bobatet. Don't underestimate the babies. Oh, you take another turn, so you just dunk them. I mean, true, you dunk them, but you need something else powered up, right? Because 120 damage is not going to knock out the active. Unless you went like double custom catcher on Jirachi and then did the GX attack and you get another turn and then you KO that. Okay, maybe, but it doesn't seem great. Azurill. Rapid Charge allows you to attach a basic energy card on a flip, and if you do your turn end, well, if you use the ability, your turn ends no matter the result. Decent baby Pokemon and very nice crochet art. Codony and Whimsicott, a lot of Whimsicott cards getting printed for some reason. Lost March though, Lost March gets new Pokemon to help with it. This attack does 20 damage for each of your Pokemon in the Lost Zone, excluding Prism Star Pokemon. So, another good way to get attacks off if you play Welder, I guess you can use Codony. It's just as bad as Shatu. Same for Whimsicott. It's like, now you have even more Pokemon to send to a Lost Zone, right? With the item card, I forgot the name, but I don't think it makes the deck viable still. I don't think it makes the deck viable. And it still loses to Malamar so badly. Flabébé, not impactful. Flabébé, not impactful. Floette. You may choose a card in your opponent's hand. Okay, so you attack their hand. Nice with Mars, but you have to dedicate all the resources pretty much to setting this sort of disruption up. And then you have Florges. I don't know how to say that. When you play to evolve, then you may choose 2 cards and you shuffle them. So you do attack their hand, but you rely on coin flips to do damage. So not great. And you confuse yourself. Wow, that's so bad. That is actually so bad. Thank you so much, Lancio. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. Thank you to everyone who's hanging out whilst we review the set. Yeah, very lost marches for the tag team dragons indeed. As a counter to Reshiram, maybe that's where they shine, right? The fairy typing is actually going to be decent offensively now because of Arceus, Dialga, Palkia, and also Reshiram and Zekrom. Slurpuff, if your opponent's active opponent isn't confused, this attack fails. That's really bad. Sylveon, you play attack team supporter, this attack does any more damage, so maybe not. Moonblast also pretty bad. Okay, so Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia, the card I pulled the other day with the secret art. You deal 150 damage and you can attach 3 basic energy cards to your Pokemon any way you like. So an even better full blitz, right? A more costly full blitz, but an even better full blitz. And you have Altered Creation GX, where for the rest of this game, your Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. And if you have at least 1 extra water type energy attached, then whenever you take a prize, whenever you knock out an opponent's active Pokemon by damage, then you take 1 more prize card. So a lot of really nice effects right here. There's no easy way to accelerate energy onto this guy. You can use Mismagius Engine plus Counter Gain to be able to attack for 2 energy. That might be the best way to power this guy up, but I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, that's definitely something to play around with. And then you probably want to power up Keldeo GXs in order to have protection from opposing tag teams as well. Now we have Reshiram and Zekrom GX, one of the most powerful cards as well in the format, where you get to use Thunderflame Dream, 90 damage, and you discard up to 3 in any combination of basic fire and basic lightning energy cards from your bench Pokemon. This attack does 90 damage for each card discarded in this way. So up to 270 damage, 1-hit KOs pretty much every tag team except this new guy and Mega Sableye Tyranitar. You do have to play something like Lysander Labs in order to bypass Fairy Charm Dragon type on Guardian decks. You do have to play Lysander Labs to bypass potential choice helmets that start getting played on Mew decks or on Reshisards. But overall, a really powerful card, and combined with Magnetel, it's going to be very disruptive. And you can't forget about the Crossbreak GX attack, where in my initial deck profile I didn't think too much of this, but I honestly think this attack is really powerful. It is very costly at 4 energy, but you get to snipe, which we're already doing that with Magnetel GX anyways. But if you played End Resolve, you get to snipe double Detennes, and the reliance on Detenne in this format is pretty big. So being able to snipe double Detenne is just fantastic. And you can dedicate that to take your first 4 prizes, lose this Reshiram and Zekrom, and then utilize Thunderflame Dream with the next one to just 1-kill whatever threat your opponent has left. Now, another Dragon type tag team that is really powerful, we have Magnetel and Guzzler GX, which might see inclusion in Malamar decks because Jet Pierce, 108 damage, nothing spectacular. Healing damage from yourself, like you're not trying to attack with this guy too many times. I guess this guy also survives the Thunderflame Dream from Reshiram and Zekrom, but you're trying to Chaos Order GX for 3 energies, 2 Psychics and 1 Darkness. You get to flip over your prize cards, but also you get to take 2 of them. So this way, this card as a finisher in the late game for Malamar seems pretty broken. That way you only need to KO 4 Pokemon, which is insanely low. Insanely low. I really like that guy in Malamar decks for sure. Drampa, nothing spectacular. Jangmo O's, Hakamo O's, and if your opponent has any Pokemon GX or Pokemon EX in play, then you can evolve on the turn that it comes into play. So very nice, you can go up to Como immediately, and you get to attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon, or you get to do 90 damage plus 90 more if you discard a tool from this Pokemon. So not bad, not bad. The Hakamo O makes it more viable, but 108 damage is unsurprisingly just not going to cut it in this format. Ultra Grosma, the Pokemon can only attack if your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining, and you do 170 damage and you discard 1 energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Decent-ish. but it's not going to be better than the Ultra Necrozma GX to finish off games. This might be good in pre-releases though. Whew, what a set, what a huge set. Next up we have Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff. That's worth at least $100, the special art one. Which one, Cola Diamond? The Reshiram and Zekrom? The Reshiram and Zekrom, or which one? Yeah, so Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff GX, really cool art and potentially powerful Pokemon, dealing base 60 damage and then 60 more for each of your opponent's Pokemon EX and GX they have in play. So against Mew Mew this is going to be very powerful. If they have 4 GX Pokemon in play, so 2 Mew Mews, 2 Tetenes, you 1-kill them for 3 energy. So I do expect this card, like, you won't base a deck around this card, but it is something you have to consider playing around. Because with the triple colorless energy, it's going to be a very easy fit into welder decks, so a very easy way to just KO tag teams at different points. And I could see something like Nagnadel checkmate decks going for the Stinger and then using Jumping Balloon to just finish off a tag team out of the blue. I wouldn't be surprised by that. And then Puff Smasher GX, you put your opponent's active Pokemon to sleep, but if you have 5 energy total, so this one plus 4 more, you deal 200 damage to one of your benched Pokemon. So that's a cool effect, and you can snipe at the Tenny for a game that way or something like that. Eevees, nothing spectacular, no energy evolution. Eevee, Igglybuff, you can try to sleep them on a coin flip, that's so bad. Apom, you may put the top card of your opponent's deck on the bottom of their deck without looking. Okay, so really weird ability. Ambipom, you draw 2 cards and then you discard 2 cards and do 60 damage, not great. Ursaring, 120 damage. The defending Pokemon can't attack, but if they retreat then they can, so not great. Zangoose, 10 damage for each damage counter opponent's active Pokemon. Maybe as a decent way to get the 2-hit KO closeout on something, on a big threat. Ultra Necrozma is cool in Expanded. How come? Why would Ultra Necrozma be cool in Expanded? Reshiram could be good in Expanded with double Dragon Energies. Oh, for sure, for sure. Reshiram will definitely be good in Expanded as well as in Standard. Lillipup, Baby Doll Eyes. If any Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. So, wow, I can see item lock based decks use this to potentially lock something up, maybe. I don't know. Stoutland, Fierce Bark. Once during your turn before you attack, when you play a card from your hand to evolve a Pokemon, you may discard energy from your own active Pokemon. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and is knocked out by damage, you may discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So double discard from the Fierce Bark, pretty nice. Alright, pretty nice. And you get to deal 110 damage and 30 to a bench Pokemon. So out of all the stage 2s, this one seems good because you can disrupt, so it goes well with the attack. You can use triple acceleration as well, but overall it's still a stage 2 and it's really hard to get out. Rufflet and Bravery, nothing important. Helioptile and Heliolisk, normal type Heliolisk, really cool art but nothing important either. If your opponent has any lightning Pokemon in play, this attack does 90 more damage, so sure, if they have the 10, you deal 120 for 1 energy. Not worth the space investment for a stage 1. If it was a basic, then maybe. Stuffle and Beware, you give yourself free retreat, not worth it for stage 1, just play a switch. Type Null and Silvally GX, both of these cards are very good. Well, Silvally GX is very good. You have Octillery's old ability in the name of Disc Reload, where you can draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. Pokemon draw power is always very coveted in any format. And then you have the Body Brave attack dealing 50 damage plus 70 more if you played a supporter from your hand. And you have the White Knight GX, where if your opponent's active Pokemon is an Ultra Beast, then they are knocked out. You can combine both Silvally GXs. You do have the Water Memory still in play, which is the only relevant one, I think. And you can triple acceleration and use the GX attack of the other guy. So there is merit to perhaps a Silvally GX deck, but nothing too great. It will add consistency to some decks. The issue is there's no easy way to search and set up the type nulls on the bench on turn 1. We do have the new Professor Oak supporter, I guess, so maybe there's merit with that. And finally, we're up to the trainers and supporters. Double Dragon Energy plus a Alolan Mug, easy 170 and energy discard. Ooh, that's true, the Alaskan Hero, that's true. That actually seems pretty good. The Eevee's attack is good to set up an evolution box, filling the bench if you go second. True, I definitely missed the Eevee's attacks, I didn't pay attention to them. Or are they? Search your deck for any number of Eevee and EVGX and put them on your bench. Okay, that's fair. That's definitely fair. So you can search for 3 regular Eevees, 2 EVGXs, or any combination. So that's actually pretty decent. That is definitely decent. I didn't catch that one. You like the variety of supporters in this set. It is a huge set. I've been talking for over an hour and a half now, I think. So Beastite. The attacks of the Ultra Beast discard is attached to do 10 more damage for each prize card you've taken to your opponent's active Pokemon. So late game, this is a really nice way to increase damage output. I feel like this might see some play in Blacephalon GX decks overall as a late game tool card to increase your damage output and make it so that you don't need as many energy in play in order to KO with Mind Blown. So that would be this deck's or this tool's main use, I would say. Belelba and Bryceman, supporter card, you can discard the top 3 cards of each player's deck. And when you play this card, you may discard 3 other cards from your hand. If you do, each player discards bench Pokemon until he or she has 3 bench Pokemon on the bench. Your opponent discards first. So it is a way to disrupt your bench, your opponent's bench. It is a way to eliminate things that hurt you, but it is very costly. It costs you 6 total cards, 3 from your deck and 3 from your hand, but you're also attacking your opponent's deck, so maybe as a one-off in Mew Mew decks to combine with Macargo GX, and then if they're at 8 cards, then you immediately win. But with all the Detenates, conserving this supporter intact will not be easy unless you have the Mewtwo, so maybe there's some merit to that strategy. Now, Chaos Well, this stadium will be very coveted from the set. When your player plays a new stadium card from your hand to discard the stadium card, then you discard the new stadium card as well. So you can't just counter the Chaotic Swell, you play the counter stadium, you lose that counter stadium, and then maybe next turn you can play a stadium if your opponent hasn't Chaotic Swelled again. So this is a really powerful stadium, especially for Mew Mew decks and Keldeo decks, because then your opponents cannot play Power Plant in order to counteract their abilities, right? So a Keldeo GX based Chaotic Swell deck seems like it could be very powerful in the future. Clay, you discard the top 7 cards of your deck and you reveal all item cards discarded in this way to your opponent, and then you put them into your hand. So it's kind of like a builds analysis. It is more costly, but it's also better at thinning. If you're running a heavy item based deck, then there's merit to playing the Clay, but overall it seems a little too destructive in a way. Cindy and Caitlyn, we've talked about in the future decks sets. You get to put a supporter from your discard pile into your hand, so very nice way to recover things like Welder or even the previous supporter, which discards your opponent's top 3 cards. But if you also discard 1 card from your hand, you draw 3 cards, so it's a very nice way to get back a resource and also get some acceleration. So I expect Cynthia and Caitlyn to be heavily played in a lot of decks. Doesn't it go in PG? It might go in PG, indeed. It does make sense to have it in PG decks. Red and Blue Tag Team plus Evolution GX possibilities. Yeah, I think so. I think so. It could have potential. We'll get to Red and Blue in a second. Draconium C is a tool card, gives you access to a GX attack, an alternate GX attack. You do need the Dragon Claw attack, and then you do 80 damage for all basic energy you discard from a Pokemon. So if you have 4 basic energies attached, you get to utilize that. So are there any Pokemon that can use it in this set? Only Drampa, right? So if you have 4 energy on Drampa, sure, you want KO attack team. That might not be a bad thing. It is a cheaper way to KO a tag team than that Turtonator, so maybe there's merit to that. Yeah, maybe there's merit to that. I'm sure it would be interesting to go to PTGO and check what other Pokemon know the Dragon Claw attack. Erika reprint. Both players draw 3 cards. Not great. If drawing 3 cards yourself is bad, giving your opponent 3 more cards is also not great. Unless you're playing something like Gengar Mimikyu, right? But it says may draw up to 3 cards, so they won't necessarily draw them either. Great Catcher, this is probably going to be the most impactful card. I do expect people to play 1 or 2 offs in the beginning, but I would not be surprised to see this card become a 4 off. In the future in decks, you discard 2 cards and then you switch one of opponent's bench Pokemon GX or EX with their active Pokemon. So it's not going to be good against Malamar, but it's good against literally everything else. And this is going to be huge. This is going to be huge. It's more costly than Custom Catcher because it costs 3 cards, the 2 cards you discard and the Great Catcher, but there are decks that will benefit from having cards in the discard pile, and you only have to search for 1 Great Catcher to be able to use it. So I fully expect this to dominate and be one of the most impactful cards from the new set. Guzman Hala, really cool supporter as well. You can search for a Stadium card, and if you discard 2 cards from your hand, you also search for a Tool card and a Special Energy. This will be especially good with the Chaotic Swell decks. I think it's going to be pretty impactful. And for example, in Keldeo GX decks, you can search for the Unit Energy, the Fire Unit Energy to attach to your Victini, and you can search for a, I don't know, a U-turn board or a escape board to retreat whatever was active into the Victini. So definitely a lot of potential uses for Guzman Hala. Searching for specific cards is always nice, and there's not a lot of ways to search for stadiums, tools, or special energies. Island Challenge Amulet, the card that was banned and expanded before it even came out, I think, or maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, this card in Japan made it so that we got a lot of bans over here in our side of the world as well. When you attach this tool to a GX or EX, their HP is reduced by 100. But then if that Pokemon is knocked out, then by damage, right? By damage. So damage counter replacement still gets you the 3 prizes, or 2 or 1 or however many. But your opponent takes 1 less prize card. So there might be some interesting ways to utilize this in certain situations. Lana's Fishing Rod, you shuffle 1 Pokemon and 1 tool from your discard pile into your deck. Some item-based Pokemon recovery, which is nice. And the tool card is just icing on the cake. Though only recovering 1 Pokemon is not super spectacular. Lily's Best Effort, the card that combines with Solgaleo and Lala GX Tag Team. You draw 4 cards from your deck, and if you have 3 or more cards in your hand at the end of this turn, you shuffle cards into your deck until you have 2 cards remaining. So, meh, Lily's Best Effort is just not that great. It should be called Lily's Last Effort, basically. So, it's not ideal, right? It's not ideal if you have a big hand, but Malamar decks might benefit from having this as an option to draw cards in the late game and use the GX attack of Solgaleo and Lunala. Goose Hala could be good in Mali decks as well. Yeah, because you search for the Viridian Forest and the Recycle Energy and either a spell tag or an escape board. So definitely a decent card to have in Malamar as well, potentially. Especially if you start playing tag teams in Malamar too. Lily's Clefairy Doll, you can play this as if it were a 30 HP basic Pokemon, and at any time during your turn, you may put this card on the bottom of your deck instead of discarding it, which is really cool. And the card can't retreat, and if the card is knocked out, your opponent can't take any prize cards for it. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool card that would be good in the Saucebuck decks as well, as a way to unBGM to promote that, and then your opponent cannot do anything about it. And it, like, you never lose them. So, with BGM, this seems like a pretty good card. And with Saucebuck as well. Like, if it gets knocked out, then sure. But if it doesn't get knocked out at some point, then you get infinite of these. Malo and Lana, another tag team supporter. You switch as a supporter, so you're immune to item lock. But you also can discard 2 more cards and heal 120 damage from the new active Pokemon. From the new one. Okay, I thought it was from the one you were retreating, but it's actually from the new active Pokemon. Interesting. Misty and Lorelei, this is pretty specific to water type Pokemon. You search your deck for up to 3 water energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. If you attach them, then this would be the best supporter card in the set. But because you only search for them, it's not that impactful, because then how do you attach them? And if you actually discard 5 other cards, then your water type Pokemon can use their GX attack once more. So maybe that's appealing, but there aren't that many great water type Pokemon that can abuse this. Maybe Keldeo, but meh, it's not that great. I think there are much better supporter options. Ends resolve, you discard the top 6 cards from your deck and you attach all basic energy discard in this way to one of your bench dragon Pokemon. So decent effect, right? Definitely decent effect, especially in a deck like Reshiram Zekrom, where you will be playing a bunch of energy, and you also get to thin essentially 6 cards from the top of your deck, but there is a possibility to whiff as well, so I think there's more reliable options. But playing 1 or 2 copies in order to be able to use the GX attack to knock out 2 Detennes seems pretty good. Professor Oak's setting, I believe it's called Professor Oak's setup. You search your deck for up to 3 basic Pokemon of different types and put them onto your bench, and then you shuffle your deck. So a less good Bridget, but definitely has potential. For example, this on turn 1 in Mew Mew decks, you could search for Mew Mew, then Inkata if you're playing Shedinja, and then I don't know what else, maybe Jirachi if you're playing that. Maybe just searching for 2 is fine, but it is an alternate option to maybe a type null. Right, so that because you're playing Silvally, so that you can have extra consistency. I don't know, but it's a good way, and it's a good way to search for non-GXs as well, right? Without having the HP restriction that Professor Elms offers. Oh, I'm tired of speaking so much. Malolana might be a mistranslation. Yeah, maybe I didn't pull one, so I can't check, but it would make more sense if you healed the one you were sending back. I don't know. Okay, so red and blue, you search your deck for a Pokemon GX that evolves from one of your Pokemon in play, and you put that Pokemon on it. And if you discard 2 cards, then you also get to accelerate 2 basic energy cards and attach them to the Pokemon you evolved. So a really, really nice way to get Silvally GX into play, for example. And if you ended up playing like energy switches, you could accelerate those energies into something else. It also goes really nicely with the evolutions, right? Definitely goes really nicely with the evolutions. Goes really nicely with Weavile GX because you get to attach energy and accelerate them and move them around to wherever you need. So I could see red and blue making Dark Box perhaps a little better than it currently is. Well, it's really bad right now, so it might make it viable, might get it to a point where it's viable, especially if you use multiple red and blues and accelerate energy that way. Roller Skate, a supporter, you discard a card, then you draw 2 cards, and if you discard an energy card, you draw 2 more cards. So discard an energy, draw 4, decent-ish, but there's better ways to draw 4 cards overall. There's better supporters. Rosa, you can play this card only if one of your Pokemon is knocked out, and then you may search your deck for a Pokemon, a trainer, and a basic energy, reveal them, and put them into your hand. This, I think, is potentially useful in things like Malamar, right? Because you do lose a lot of things really quickly. That allows you to search your deck for backup Malamar, a trainer, whichever you want, like a Spell Tag or something, and then the basic energy. Rosa seems like a good comeback supporter, right? A really good comeback supporter. Perhaps in PG decks this could be decent as well, because then you can search for Articuno, the water energy, and a switching card or whatever, you're like a power plant, and then immediately respond or eliminate the energies off of a threat. Now we have Roxy, where you discard up to 2 Pokemon cards from your hand, and for each card you discard, you draw 3 cards from your deck. Goes really nicely with the coughing, very nice background, and the wheezing, because you also get to damage your opponent. So this is a way to manipulate damage output, right? And if Malamar is going to be a spread deck, then maybe it benefits from playing Roxy and the wheezings. You never know. Tack Whistle, this is completely broken. You search your deck for up to 2 tag team cards and put them into your hand, and then you shuffle your deck. Pretty good card because you can search for Pokemon tag teams or the supporter tag teams. So this with Cherish Ball is just going to make tag team decks, which were already pretty broken, just completely insane. Unidentified fossils, we have like 200 of those now, and they all do the same thing. We have Will, where after playing this card, the first time you flip a coin for the effect of a trainer card, an ability, or an attack during this turn, you may choose to make the result heads or tails. So, combined with something like the Shatu, right? That could be a way to get one-hit KO. So, what if you played Shatu with Will and Silvally GX, then and Great Catcher? Then you could get one-hit KOs on tag teams, guaranteed, right? As long as you played the Shrine. So, that actually makes me, I mean, maybe I'll play that deck at some point. Maybe for Pokédex, TCG Pokédex, because we do have that pending, and we are in Gen 2, so that might be a good Shatu deck to try out. And finally, the one energy in the deck, one special energy, draw energy when you attach it from your hand to a Pokemon, you may draw a card. So decent enough, right? But what decks really benefit from attaching one energy per turn? That's not like trying to accelerate. I don't think any deck can afford to play draw energy. Maybe some Registart variants, greens decks, maybe Guardian. Maybe you play this as a filler in case you're playing Guzman Hall already, so that you can grab something and attach. But meh, it seems not that fantastic. It doesn't seem that fantastic, honestly. But yeah, everything else we do not have. They're just alternate art cards, special art cards, etc. So this is really cool art as well. So yeah, that concludes our set review. That was a very, very long set review. I think, I mean, I will definitely be uploading this to YouTube for those of you who missed it or who might have missed some parts because of the lag. I apologize. Hopefully this was useful to you, and as always, if you need any of these cards and you're planning on buying them, if you want to support the channel, you can do so by buying. If you're from Europe, you can purchase the cards from Millibots Gaming, use code TAILMON to get 5% off. If you are buying from TCG Player, any cards, if you just follow the link and check out with the link in the description of every video, then you immediately support the channel. It's a free way to support the channel. And Poton Store has you covered with instant email delivery on all the Cosmic Eclipse code cards you might ever want, and any previous sets and promo cards as well. So that will be all for today. My throat is actually pretty tired. I was planning on playing some Expanded, or a little bit of Expanded today, but I think that's gonna take a backseat for the day. At some point I'll probably try and record some videos outside of streaming, but yeah, I'm pretty tired right now, so I'm gonna take a break. I hope this was useful for you. If you're watching on YouTube especially, don't forget to leave a like. And to everyone who joined in on Twitch, I do want to mention that as of next week, I think I'm gonna be starting to stream in YouTube. I think the market right now for Pokemon TCG streams, like when I started doing it more often, I was one of the few people that was streaming, and especially in the morning, I was pretty much the only one. Now there's so many streams going on at the same time, and that's really good for you guys, but it's not so great for myself, right? And it's okay that people prefer to watch other streams, I totally get it, but the main idea is I'm trying to look for perhaps new horizons, and in the end 18,000 people will get the notification on YouTube that I'm going live. No one is doing live streams on YouTube, so I'm gonna give that a try, and if it doesn't work, then we'll come back to Twitch. But if you're an avid follower of TableMon live streams, then I definitely recommend you guys check me out next week. I'm gonna be trying to stream every day, same times, right, 11 to 2 p.m, but I'm gonna be live streaming on YouTube and see how it works out. Yeah, maybe the settings will help, the live streaming, the bitrate, everything, the lag, and we'll see how it goes. And if it doesn't work out, then we'll be back to Twitch. But anyways, that's all from me. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will catch you guys later for more videos and streams. Thank you so much as always for your support, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.